Adobe Medium is perfect for making organic shapes like dragons and monsters and creatures. So let's do a series of videos where we make a little dragon, and then we'll get him ready for 3D print. So the first thing we want to do is establish the level. If you, the level of resolution, I mean. If you don't understand how to handle resolution in Adobe Medium, then go and watch the video that I'll link up above now about how voxels work and how the levels work in Adobe Medium, and you'll be able to understand a little bit better then about what I'm doing in this initial stage where I decrease the layers. So first of all, what I want to do is establish the scene. So I want a mirror on, and that means I can model symmetrically, quite obviously. I might as well start with a colour, and the dragon that I'm going to do first of all has got a basic blue colour, I think. So How to Train Your Dragon's probably one of my favourite dragon films series of all time, really. The design of them, I just find them outstanding, really. They're so simple in shape in some ways, and then in other ways they're incredibly complex. So we're not going to make an exact dragon, but I'm gonna just focus on that style. And then eventually get to 3D print it. So for this video, what I want to do is do the full block out of the body. So I'm going to keep it incredibly low. As you keep seeing, I'm really low resolution now, so that means that the systems, it looks rough, really rough. I can smooth it by holding down my non-dominant trigger and then just fire with my dominant hand, and that's where my body's going to be. It's going to sit somewhere around here. So I'm going to blast through this quite quickly. I've done lots of videos to get us to this point. So I'm going to quickly blast through and make the low poly shape. So let's just quickly line it up. So I want a head out up here, and this one is going to have a mouth open. And bear in mind, this can be as rough as you like. It can really be rough for the first bit. You can see that I'll do things like that, which is just smoothing it out. So I'm doing nothing more than laying out my framework at this stage, and you can see that that's reflected in the speed that I'm doing it. It'll get slower, and it'll get obviously more refined as we get further down the line. But for now, what we're trying to do is just set up the scene with the character in it. Not even the scene, sorry. Set up how we're going to make this character or creature in the scene. Look how big that head is, so that's obviously not going to work for us. Let's just make that exact same thing, but make it a lot smaller, like that. And then the body, we'll make that a bit bigger. And the legs, we can fatten them up already. And I can't remember how many claws they have, but I'm going to guess 3. Something like that. And you can see already we've kind of blocked it out with a matter of minutes, really. So what we don't want is a double tail. So we'll just get rid of that, and we'll just lay out a tail as if it's a raptor. And then smooth that down. And then rather than trying to get the volume right, it's sometimes better just to switch to the move tool and just pull it out and then smooth it down again. And if you find that you're being quite destructive with that brush, that means you are too low. So you can step up one level just to give you a little bit more a voxel resolution to play with. The wings are going to come off somewhere here, and there's no arms on this one. It's literally all body. So it's not going to cause us any problems down here with any arms and having to work out any pectoral muscles, because they're all coming off the back, coming here. The pectoral muscles are here, but we don't have to worry about a dragon with 2 arms and 2 wings, which always presents problems. If you're designing a creature and it's got 6 limbs, then you're always going to have some kind of a design compromise. And they very rarely look realistic if you're going down that route. So I do love a dragon that's just got 2 wings and no forearms. And you've got the danger that they look like a T-Rex with wings, which is never a good thing. So I'm just working around the anatomy, adding the basics. So more on the thigh. See me building that thigh up. Come down on the ankle. A bit more down here onto the foot. Looks odd, doesn't it? It always looks rough when these first initial 5 minutes. You're going to have it looking like it almost feels like you're not going to get it looking right at some point. You do feel like it does look a bit rubbish at times. But very quickly we've got there. The feet are completely wrong. Look at that, from the wrong angle there. So with the move tool, you can just move things around, and we'll put some nice toes on there when we're ready for that. Let's put that head back. Make that head a little bit more as we want it to be. Now with the designs we're working with, the lower jaw is bigger than the upper jaw, which makes it look a bit odd, but it gives it that signature stylized look, I think. We're going to need some eyes up the front, up here, and then eventually there's going to be spikes out here, but we don't have to worry about that just yet. Let's just bring this round here. Any minute now we'll put some eyes in. Before we really go diving deep into the detail, it's good to put in things like some spikes and some eyes and some things to help you with the reference of the model. We'll bring the wings down a bit, but I'm not doing the wings just yet. I'm still going to leave that for a while. Take that. There we go. Take that resolution up again so we can smooth it even more. And we're already starting to get something that's got the feel that we want. I don't like the head position, so I'm going to grab the whole head. And I don't think that jaw's anywhere near big enough yet. So let's just make that jaw really big. Like so. That looks better, doesn't it? That looks more like the style we'd be used to seeing. And then I'll put them there for now, but again, they're just placeholders really. What's it like from above? So it's a bit wobbly down the tail area, so we'll get that right. So we're just improving the volumes as we go. Legs look good already, quite happy with them. Let's have a think about those toes. So I think that the style that we're aiming for has bigger lower feet than we're used to on our normal kind of designs that I would certainly do. So it has these big clubbed feet affairs. Quite like the look of that straight away. Gives it a very stylized look and a very specific look. I like Toothless in How to Train Your Dragon. It's one of my favourite. I didn't like him when I first saw him because I thought he was so far departed from what I was used to. But when you think of him as a pet cat crossed with a dragon, then you kind of feel like they got that design quite right. I think it's my opinion, obviously, but I do like where they went with that design. And some of them went a little bit too way out there, and some of them just felt like they were trying to get as crazy as they could. So we don't want to go too out there. So he's got these nice big feet, so I'm liking that. I don't know what happened there. I missed that. So we'll just delete it. So remember to delete, double click the green, and it goes away. So that's quite useful. So we'll bring that down and that up. Sort the volumes out round the back. Quite happy with that. Might make it a bit more realistic, muscular than the designs on the show. Depends. I think this is going to evolve. I think this is going to evolve as I design it. I don't think it'll be as straightforward as I thought it might be at the start. Now let's just use that move tool. We're already on the move tool, aren't we? And the tail I want to be quite long like that. Maybe a tad too much, but we'll see. Just want a little bit of a kink in it. You can see what I did there. I moved the point at which I'm doing the moving. I moved that around, so I moved it a little bit in one way, and then I moved it along, so that you're not just pulling it from one location. There, that's probably what I'm best to say. So I'll move it down here like this, make the brush small, and move it here like so. So you can see me moving it from different locations. That seems to help with the shaping. Let's get that jaw a bit more as we would want it. So wider at the cheeks, wider at the back of the mouth, and there we go. That jaw's now looking a little bit more like we would expect. Let's go back to the head, and we'll pull out the spike that this one has up here. I'm going to increase the resolution now a little bit, because I'm starting to get to the point where I want to start thinking about detailing a little bit more now. So up here we need some eyes. So I'll make a new layer, and I'll just pop in, maybe change the colour to something else just for now. And we'll just pop an eye in. Make sure when you switch back to the layer that you're using the obviously the correct colour. So I'm happy with that. Now that spike I probably want a bit more, and I could do that as a separate object, but there's no need to at this point. It welds in quite nicely like that. I can use the move tool, push forward on the thumbstick, non-dominant hand. That looks good, and these here are going to be separate spikes, so I don't really even need those. Let's put some detailing in here. So negative, and then carve out where the mouth's going to be, and smooth that down a bit, and the same at the top. And then maybe back down the throat a little bit, and we'll put a tongue in there later on. Once we get to the detailing section, we can stick a tongue in there, which will help. So that's looking about right, I think. Maybe not quite right there, because I don't know, maybe like that, a bit more dinosaur-y rather than dragony. We'll just shape that mouth a little bit, well before we put teeth in it. And let's just make sure we've got a big jaw, because one of the big things is that it's got this bigger overbite kind of lower jaw going on. So that's working well. Now what about wings then? So there's a couple of ways of doing this, but we'll just do the basic way. We'll just put a framework in. So that'll be the forearm. Sorry, not the forearm, the humerus. So that's from the shoulder. Then the forearm. And then you'd see the individual fingers basically, which is these. And if that works, which I think it probably would, let's move that down a bit, which, yeah, that would work. So what I'll do is I won't use that one, I just wanted to see if that would work. I'll go new layer, and on that layer I'll make one spine. I'll turn the mirroring off. I'll just want one long thin spine like this. So you'll see why I'm doing this in a moment, because what we're going to do is make a stamp. Anyone that's followed me for a while knows I generally make stamps for the particular model I'm on, rather than just using anything pre-made. So I'm just thinning that down and then move it, and as you move it, it will thin out like so. And what we can do is, if that's not working, or if it's not gone thin enough, then instead of going thinner, we can just use an inflate at the other end. You can just make it bigger at this end. You can see I'm doing it really carefully there. Mainly at the back end, just to make the spine a bit thicker. When that's done, then make a stamp of that. And as you can see now, I've got a stamp. We'll just go single, so we can just stamp it in when we're ready for it. So we'll delete that layer. Don't need that now. And then we'll make a new layer with mirror on. So new layer, mirror on, and then see what we get. It's the wrong way around actually, isn't it? So bring it around. So I'm holding the, basically to move this around, if I hold the thumbstick on my dominant hand down, it allows you to reset the tool applicator as it says there, and then you can just move it around, and that allows you to change your pivot point as you're working. So what I want to do now is go something like that, and then that, maybe even another one out here. That. And I'm just doing the spines of the wing now, as you can see. And I've done them in different ways like that because I want the skin to basically be a bit almost folded and rippled. So the fact that the finger spines are like that will mean that it will give me exactly that, which we're not going to do just yet. So let's just go back to the feet now. We'll just use the same tool for a minute. If your applicator, if the sphere comes off like this, just hold that button again, the thumbstick on the dominant hand, and just pop it back where you want it. Make sure you switch back to continuous, and then don't forget we need colour. Correct. So we want some claws on here, which will harden up and sharpen up in a few minutes, but at least we've got them now. And then you can actually make them super sharp by using the cube, double click for red, and then we can chip them away like this. And that means for sure you're going to get a really hard-edged look, like so. That gives you quite a nice effect. Now we will have to level this for 3D printing at the end, simply because we're making it in the air and we haven't put a floor on it, but that's absolutely super easy to do. So that won't cause us any hassle right towards the end. And that's the feet with basic claws on them. We're nearly there now with the first pass. In that very, very quick amount of time, we've got somewhere along the line of the model already blocked out. So what we will do is we'll do the skin of the wings next, and then we'll probably leave the first session there, and then we've got a really good start going. So we'll make a new layer, and we will change the color to change it to clay first of all, and change the color to a creamy color, and then I don't suppose it really matters which shape that I use, because we're going to do a lot of messing like so. In fact, that's not on its own layer, is it? No. So let's go back, make sure we are on our own layer. There we go, you can see it quite easily. And then we'll lay down the first bit like so, and it's going to look odd for a minute, this is, because it's going to look quite fat and blobby, but then we're going to smooth it right down, and you'll see what I mean as soon as we get to it. So I'm just laying some clay down to work with. So that's a good start. And we'll smooth that down straight away. Because it's higher res than we're used to, or than we started with, it takes a lot longer to smooth it down now. Well, that's not a bad thing. And then what I want is, I'll just draw the frame of what I want. So I want it to look like this. And you'll see, like, all of them are going to be like this. And that's so that it looks like it's almost like cloth. And then all we have to do is fill that in between, like so, and then smooth that down. Seems, and I, you know, I don't even mind holes in it, because we are going to carve holes in it eventually. There you go. And now this one. Really no major thought to it, just filling in between those shapes. And we'll drag it around a lot as we're finishing it, but looks fine. Okay, and back it down a bit, and then let's start with the heavy duty smoothing now. So this is going to take a minute or two as we smooth it right back down, and it will. So it's separating there. It's not ideal for what we want, but it doesn't matter, because we're going to fix all of that. And the move tool will be the tool we resort to that fixes a lot of this. And I don't mind it being thicker than I would normally want it for a CG one. This is going to be a 3D print, so there's got to be some weight to this for me to allow me to make it work as a 3D print. Let's just switch to the move tool now. So we've got a good start. Now every bit that we move around now, you'll see that it's going to thin out. Again, don't worry about the holes, they're all going to get fixed. Just keep smoothing it down, moving it in. Smoothing it down. Do it all the way down the back as well. And if you do this all merged in with the spines, the blue spines, then you'd find that you'd be really destructive now. So having them separate, it means that the blue spines are acting as a guide, which is quite useful. Just takes a minute just to smooth it all down. Again, because we've gone higher res to keep the shape, we're paying for that with the amount of time it takes to do some of this. So slowly now with the move tool, bring everything in line. So you want all of the skin embedded in the finger spines. Like so. And definitely make sure that it looks like it's like rippling cloth is the effect that I'm after, so we definitely need it to fold. Let's bring these up here. Again, don't mind that hole, looks like something I would put in at the end anyway, so that's not a problem. Looks good. And those holes are my friends. They were things that I would put in anyway. So while I didn't plan them, they're not an unwelcome problem. And if you want, you can now, using the clay with negative, you can put in some marks like this. Because you left it quite thick, means you can do ones like that, and that'll just give it a bit more of a ripple effect. Obviously that would be a problem if you went too thin, and be careful you don't shoot through the mesh at this point. That looks good. And I've just realised that we didn't attach it to the body, so we need it coming out all the way from here down here like this, and then we'll smooth that down. There you go. It's almost the front is almost there. The back isn't. So let's get this done. I'm going to add in that spine like that. It just helps me get that clean line across the edge. Getting rid of some of them holes now. I'm adding in the shape of the finger spines into the mesh there. You can see where that one is. No, that's not ideal, so let's go like this over the top. And then the last one. See that bit, so I'll smooth that down as well. We'll put a bit more geometry there. There we go. Make sure it's nice and smooth all the way around. Now what's really interesting is this. If you take the move tool and then hit the settings button, you've got active layer only, hit that and you can now do them all at the same time, and you can now move the wing around like this, and what that will do is it will shape it even more for you, because now it's moving the wing with the arm. Be careful with things like this here where it's gone too thin, so you can bring that up a bit more, but generally speaking it will just enhance what you've already done. Made a bit of a foobar there where it's gone a bit fat at this bottom end. Just tighten that down a bit and that looks good. So there you go, there's the initial block out done and dusted. So we'll start the next video with all of the body spines and details around the mouth, the tongue, the head spines, and we'll move on to the final detailing, which will be the last video when we prepare it for print. I hope you're enjoying these videos. Please give one of the videos a thumbs up if it's something that you like. We make these videos every Wednesday and every Friday, so please hit the subscribe button and don't forget to hit the notification bell, and we'll let you know when we're dropping our next video.